Alright. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Late Night Tips. Tonight I'd like to talk to you about how to integrate a looper with the Octatrack and with the rest of your setup. I actually upgraded my looper. I got rid of the TC Electronic Ditto X4 looper. The problem with that looper was that it did not receive start-stop messages. So basically, when I wanted to stop the sequence on the Octatrack, I had to stop the sequence on the looper separately and then manually sync it to the restarted sequence from the Octatrack, which would be pretty good for a live setting, but for a studio setting when you want to work on something, develop something, it wasn't the perfect solution. So what I did was upgrade my looper to Boss RC202, which is an awesome looping station, but it's more designed for tabletop use. So it landed in here on my desk. In the near future, I'm planning to create a custom foot controller for this looper so that I can control it with my feet and play my guitar at the same time. But for now, I just use my hands. So what is really cool about the 202 is that it has full MIDI implementation. It receives sync, transport, CC messages, and program changes, which is amazing. And another really cool thing, it's capable of looping, then starting a sequence and syncing the rest of the gear to the tempo of the loop. So it calculates the tempo of the loop and then sends clock to everything else. So my two applications for the 202 is, first of all, it can work as a slave, just like a normal looper sync to the Octatrack and the rest of the clock here in the studio, but it can also work as a master clock. So when I want to record a short loop and I don't really feel like calculating the BPM, I can just play a loop in the BPM that feels right, and it's going to calculate that and sync everything else. Cool. So the first setting is a slave setting, which means that I can sync it to the Octatrack and record freely whatever gets into the looper. So in the first setting, when I go to my Octatrack sync, I have it to send, transport, and send clock. And I have receive clock deactivated. And here in the settings, in the setup, I go to MIDI. And in here I have sync and it's auto, which means that if it gets the sync, it's going to start looping. So let's see how this works. I have a short sequence in here. All right. And I can add some delay from the mixer now. And then when I press stop in here, it just stops. And obviously I can stop it independently of the sequence and start it independently of the sequence. So it means I have two additional tracks to add to the mix. But what's probably even cooler is to have this work as a master clock. So let's go to settings in here, and I'm going to set my Octatrack to receive clock and receive transport. And I'm going to go to my MIDI settings in here. And I'm going to set the clock, the sync to internal. And let's see. So now when I press stop on the 202, it stops the entire sequence because it works as a master. So as you can see in here, the clock is pretty solid. It fluctuates a little bit, but nothing too drastic. And it's 101 BPM. This is what I created, 0.6 or 7. So yeah, this works beautifully. The only issue that I really had was that it was receiving program changes from the Octatrack. So whenever I would change the pattern, it would change the bank, I think, on the 202. But I could easily fix that by switching the Omni on MIDI off, and it just worked out. I didn't even have to filter it out through iConnect MIDI. Yeah, so that's it for this episode of Late Night Tips. It's a really cool thing to have because it's just easier and more fun to loop using an external looper than it is really sampling into the Octatrack. If you have any questions about this setup, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing to catch more tutorials, more jams, and more opinions. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great night and take care.